Yo, what's going on? It's your girl, Lauren, better known as LA. And I'm here with my cousin. Not my cousin, but my blood cousin, Eric.
Hi.
Hi. His dad is my uncle. Okay.
For real.
Yeah, for real. And we're sitting on just a portion of our 90-acre legacy right now.
It's 90 acres?
90 acres. Plus.
Wow.
Yeah. That was acquired by our great-grandfather. We'll talk about that later.
In Mississippi?
In Mississippi, yes. And
ooh, hold on.
Listen.
Oh.
In Madison, to be exact. I'm not gonna say that.
Right.
Okay. So, Eric and I, we didn't grow up together in the same, state, but we spent a lot of summers together. Him and his little sister Lexi. Hi, Lexi. So, we spent a lot of summers together. We're still very close, but we both went through a lot of adversity, separately. So when we got together, as adults, we were able to kind of, just come together and like kind of compare stories, share our journeys, like our personal journeys with God, just in general. So Eric has a beautiful journey, a beautiful story. He has his own business now, Mindset Meals. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
So I really just wanted to, talk to you about that and like have you talk to others about that so they can kind of, get to know you and stuff like that. A piece of me, you know what I'm saying?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So
let's do it.
How did you grow up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how was Grand Rapids? Like,
Grand Rapids is very conservative. So Grand Rapids is a place where, like most of America, if you walk into a store as a 11-year-old kid with a younger brother who is also African American and Hispanic, you will be looked at. You'll be looked at, and there'll be. I feel like sometimes when we walk into a store and we would just be looked at, like I said, like
right. Predominantly white.
Predominantly white, for sure. Historically, one of statistic from Forbes came out a few years ago. I think it was 2015 that said that if you're a person of color, we'll get into the business thing later, I'm sure, but like if you're a person of color, it's the second worst city in the nation to start a business if you're a person of color. Grand Rapids specifically, where I was born and raised.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously every store wasn't like that, but like there were some times where it's like, why am I being stared at? I could do other things, like I would fight because that's how I was raised, but I couldn't steal. So why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking? I can't steal. I accidentally stole some crackers from the store when I was a kid, and I brought them back to the store.
Yeah. So
like, that's how it was in Grand Rapids, and that's how it still is.
Yeah. So like at your teenage years, so from then to teenager, like how was that, and how did growing up affect the decision that you made that had changed your life for the better?
For the better?
Yes.
Yes.
Ultimately for the better. Then not so much.
Right.
You know what I mean? So leading up to that, I want to talk about what led up to that decision that night that changed your life and that got you this business and got your mind right. And got your,
Right. So what's the question now?
The question now is like after you grew up in Grand Rapids as a child, teenager, because like your teenage years, your college years, like did that affect your decision? That's the question. Like how you grew up, did that affect your decision? Like what impacted you to make that decision that you made?
The decision to be a better person, or decision I made to end up ultimately going to prison?
Yes.
Which one?
So that night, I really want to talk about that night actually.
Oh, okay. So I think it would be a good idea to tell your audience that I went to prison.
All right, so I'm thinking like y'all just know like him and like you know what I mean. So Eric did spend 5 years in prison?
No.
How many?
Don't be disrespectful.
I'm sorry.
2.5 was enough for me. It was enough for me.
See, I don't know. This is our first time really talking about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yep. So 2.5 years.
Yeah. So.
And how did that happen? Like take me back. Like rewind. Take me back to that night.
So.
Like pregame, everything. I need to know everything. Like what happened.
So let's go back even further.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like that was.
Let's go back even further. So I remember there was a time. The reason why I don't want to say violent because I would never start nothing, but you better not say touch me the wrong way because that's how we were. That's how we were raised. And honestly, I don't believe that's the right way anymore.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened.
And when you have things to lose, it's not. There's certain you have to pick and choose your own battles. Right. I had to learn that the hard way, but
right. Yes, and And so basically what happened was, this is how I've gotten to that mindset of, if somebody messes with you, you tear that ass up, basically. Can I cuss on you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you tear that ass up.
Grandma's right there. You gotta pass this.
You tear that butt up. My grandmother is over there. That's the 4th time I've cussed in front of her.
That was
Anyways,
yesterday. You got passed yesterday.
yeah, ain't no passes today. I apologize. Don't get the spoon, Grandma.
Nothing. She's crazy.
So basically, when I was, man, it was one of my earliest memories. One of my earliest memories, I remember there was a group of girls who, we lived in the inner city, so there was a group of girls who lived down the alleyway. We lived on a house right on the alleyway. And there was 3 of them. And the oldest one would always pick on me for some reason. And I remember,
black?
Nope, they were white.
Okay.
And she would always pick on me for, so I don't know if it was like flirtation. I don't know.
It had to be.
So I don't remember exactly what happened. I was fat. But I don't remember what happened exactly, but we got into an altercation and she was piecing me up or something. I didn't hit her. I didn't hit her. She was a female. You don't hit females. So I remember my stepfather at the time, who was aggressive, who was, you just knew not to mess with him. I seen him fight people on basketball courts. Like, that's why I'm so aggressive still to this day on the basketball court. I remember him telling me to get on the bed and pull your pants down. He was like, get on the bed and pull your pants down. And he had a belt and he had it up here. And I'll remember this. And he had it up here. He was like, if somebody hits you or if you feel threatened in any way, you beat them up. You don't let people beat you up.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I'm confused now because my whole life I've been told not to hit women no matter what, blah, blah, blah. So next time I seen her, I pieced her up. The next time I seen her, I pieced her up. She was coming up the alley, and I was like, you here? And I just started, wink. And from there on out, it was just in me. It was in me. I'd rather fight 6 dudes or one older woman,
Right.
or one older woman
Right.
than to fight, his name was Fitz, than to fight Fitz. I'd rather fight 6 dudes than to fight Fitz. So like that's how it got ingrained in me to, if you feel uncomfortable, fight first. Don't ask questions.
Right.
Don't try to think of other things. That's how it got instilled into me to be like, I feel threatened.
Don't respond, react.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then, fast forward when I was 18, I just turned 19. Actually, I was still 18 when we went to the club. We went to the club called the Margarita Grill in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it was Casey, my buddy Casey. I went to a predominantly white high school. And my buddy Casey was playing football. He was, in high school, he was the captain of the offense. I was the captain of the defense in football. He ended up playing football in Cali.
White.
Yep, Casey was white. He ended up playing football in Cali. I was going to a community college in Grand Rapids. And it was winter break, right? So we ain't even out of high school, maybe 6 months.
Right. You just got
We
to college.
just got out. We just got out of high school. So it was me, Casey, Ryan, and Alex.
And how many of those people are black?
Alex is black and Mexican. I'm black and Cuban. Ryan's white. Casey's white.
Okay, so it's two black men. Okay.
Right. Exactly. Especially in Grand Rapids, they don't even care if you're Hispanic.
Okay.
So, so we went into the bar, and we had a blast. You know me, I get down. Like I get down, and Casey could dance, and Ryan he can't really dance, but Alex he pop lock and stuff. Yeah,
okay.
like so we was having a good time, no problems at all.
They're your friends.
Yep. And then all of a sudden,
teammates. They're brothers.
we leave. Well, yeah, I would consider them brothers back then for sure.
Yeah.
And we leave. And I was approached by this bigger dude. Like I'm about 230 now. He was about 240, but I was in my freshman year in college. I was like 190. So he was about 240, and he grabbed me. He was like, "Shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up." And
out of nowhere, like
we were walking across the street. We were walking across. Us 4 were walking across the street. I'm singing, "So darling, darling, stand by me," and I'm just dancing, going across.
Yeah,
Yep,
doing
me.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me, belligerent. I mean, eyes glazed over, just gone. Shut the fuck up. So he was so drunk that I wasn't that threatened. I didn't know him. He was bigger than me, so he was threatened in that sense. But like as far as like threatened is like you gonna hurt me, not so much.
You're belligerent. I'm not even gonna give you the time of day. Like just Yeah.
So Casey, I think this is the time where we found out that we could knock people out, right? Casey was knocking a couple dudes out. And the thing of it is, we never started nothing. We was pretty boys, and people thought they could approach us the wrong way. And then they would
wrong thing to do.
Right. Right.
I'm saying, people think,
so,
listen, they know, anybody who knows, they know.
Right. So you know what I'm talking about. But we got to change our mindset and that aspect and actually talk to these people, or just walk away from them, which is difficult from where we came from.
Exactly.
So Casey said knock his A out. He said knock his A out, and I ain't thinking. I didn't think, huh?
No, I was saying that's why he's.
Oh yeah, I said yeah. My grandma. So he said knock his A out, and I remember the guy's attention switched from me to Casey immediately.
Casey's the white one.
Casey's my white homie.
Okay.
And the guy who approached us was white as well.
Okay.
And his attention went from me to Casey really quick. They had words, and then he looked back at me and he said something else to me. As soon as he said something to me, Casey, I've never seen somebody get hit this hard in my life. And Casey hit him. Wow, but you ain't thinking of nothing like that at that time. You're just like, what's up?
So fast.
It was so quick. So growing up, Alex, the buddy I was with, he was in gangs growing up. Luckily, what saved me from gangs and stuff like that is basketball and football.
Yeah.
That's what saved me flat out. And so I would see people fight. I would see people get stomped out. I would see everything. So it was a natural reaction from when he fell to try to kick him. And I fought with myself a lot with that afterwards.
Yeah.
I was like, I fought with myself.
When they're down.
Yeah, I fought with myself a lot about that. I'm like, I don't like you for that. But there was snow on the ground, and I didn't connect well. I didn't connect well. Good, right?
Yeah.
So his buddy instantly, I'm talking about, he fell, I tried. His boy came up, and I hit his boy. And when I hit his boy fell to a knee, and he started holding his face. And Ryan came around me and started piecing the dude up I hit. So the dude's on the ground that Casey rocked. The dude who tried to run up immediately is like, he's dazed, and Ryan's piecing him up. But Ryan really, in my opinion, he didn't really know how to fight. I'll tell you to your face, Ryan. I'll tell him all the time. But he don't know how to fight, so he'll do things like when somebody's dazed, he'll piece him up and stuff. So I pushed Ryan off of, the guy's name was Ben, that I hit. And I pushed Ryan off him, and I told Ben, get the F out of here. I was like, get the F out of here.
Like, leave us alone.
Leave us alone. Yeah. And I looked back down, and my man was like this. He was seized up on the ground, and like he was tightening it up. So I yelled cops, but there was no cops. There was really no one around. It was like almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and we were walking to our car, so there was really no one around. And I yelled cops, but there were no cops around. So we kind of took off around the corner. And when we took off around the corner, I looked back, and there was a group of Hispanic dudes running up, and I only knew one of them in the group. And at that time, I didn't know if they were running towards us, if they were running towards him. Come to find out, now this part I don't know for sure because I wasn't there, but they started assaulting the two guys that we just had an altercation with. Because now I'm not justifying this.
Yes.
But the reason was because those guys, that group of people that we just had an altercation with, were bullying them in the bar.
And then they saw what was
and they
going
saw
on.
them, so they came up and tried to piece them up too.
Right. So do you think both? Like, do you think that they had? Oh, I'm gonna just let you finish.
Because they don't know.
Yeah.
So so I think a day later, Alex, who was in gangs, who I learned how to throw hands from, for real, didn't touch nobody that night. Nobody. Who was?
So where was he?
He was there. It just
happened so fast.
It happened so fast.
Yeah.
It happened so fast. I'm talking maybe 20 seconds. And 20 seconds is a long time to count.
A decision
1,
to make
2,
could change
3.
your life like that.
In
like,
20
that's why
it
you
was
have
so
to think
quick.
About, yeah.
So Alex didn't touch nobody. So Alex calls me. He's like, hey man, that dude that Casey punches in the hospital. And I'm like, call Casey. So he calls Casey. Casey calls me. And that was my homie back then. I'll do anything for Casey, and that's just how I am. And I was like, I'll come over. Casey was supposed to fly out to Cali back to play football that next day or two. And Casey's trip. Casey's alpha male. Casey is quarterback, pretty boy, tall, handsome. Like he was like the guy, right?
Yeah.
And I've never seen Casey so scared in my life, which kind of made me scared.
Yeah.
And I was like, so.
How did they even hear he was in the hospital?
It was on the news. Now check this out. It was on the news that a group of dark-skinned, dark-clothing men beat this white gentleman up.
Wow.
And that's what made me mad. That's why I told Casey, let's go down to the police station and tell them what happened.
Yeah.
Because that's not what happened. What they're saying on the news is it happened. That's when I lost respect for the news, for the media, because they lied and they said a group of dark-skinned, dark-clothing men. I had on Abercrombie. I had on Abercrombie. Casey had on Abercrombie. Somebody had on Hollister. Yeah, so and you know, that clothing back then, I had a teal shirt on. Like, it was bright teal.
And it was winter, so I know you're brighter than you are now.
Right. White, like lighter?
Yes.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, I get really white in the winter. And so then I went to Casey's house. He was just frantic, walking around, and I'm like, let's just go down to the police station, tell them what happened. They don't know what's going on. It was a fight, dude. It wasn't. I'm going to tell you right now, I've gotten beat up. Be worse than that. I've gotten beat up worse than that.
Yeah.
I had blood coming out of my head before. Yeah. Like I there was no blood on him. He looked fine. I was like, why is he in the hospital?
Like a concussion type of thing?
He had internal bleeding from the punch here, and then when he fell back on his head, he had internal bleeding here too. So, I think it was a week later, unfortunately, they had to pull the plug on this young man, and he ended up losing his life over 20 seconds, and it was just unfortunate for everyone, because it's just crazy how someone can become such a bully, then really quick turn into a victim.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly he turned into the biggest victim. And so we went down to the police station, and that's where we messed up really in reality, because if you're weak-minded, the system is made for you to, it doesn't matter who really did something, it's let's all get all of them in trouble. I feel like it's a commission thing.
Right.
It's a commission, like how many people can I get in trouble? I don't care the real story. And if you're weak-minded, you'll say things that you didn't do.
Or they'll court you into it.
Or that.
Yeah.
And I luckily, grandma, my mom, abuela, like I'm not weak-minded. Ryan said that he kicked the guy on the ground. And I promise you I didn't see that. And I would have said something if he did. But I promise you I didn't see Ryan kicking. The only thing I seen Ryan do was piece the dude that was like kind of like
then you pushed him off him.
Then I pushed him off him. So Ryan said he kicked him. So that's how he got entangled in this whole thing. And then so they end up pulling the plug. In the midst of things, fast forward a little bit more, Ryan took a plea deal.
And that's your black friend?
No. Alex didn't touch him.
He didn't touch him. Okay.
Alex didn't touch anymore.
So Alex took a plea deal for how
long?
long?
No. Ryan took a plea deal.
Ryan took a plea deal for how long?
They didn't give him guidelines. They didn't give him guidelines. So I think his plea deal was like, I don't remember. It was very light though. For manslaughter, it was very light. Casey took a plea deal for manslaughter. And what was very interesting was in the beginning of this, it was Casey's about to go to jail for a long time. It was everyone was talking to him like, dog, Casey's gone. I'm talking about parents of friends. Alex's parents were like, Casey's done for. My friends were like, Casey's done. And all of a sudden, it really is shifted to me. I was the big bad wolf in this case. I was a really big bad wolf in this case, and I don't understand why. I have my assumptions, but I don't understand why. Right. And Casey took a plea deal. I'm talking 6 months later. Casey took a plea deal. Ryan took a plea deal. The two Hispanic dudes took a plea deal. They end up saying, I think they assaulted him while he was on the ground.
Right. But basically, it was like y'all had already done all the work, and then like they just kind of came through and like swept, you know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Because in some stories they were saying that he got back up. The dude that Casey dropped got back up, and then they pieced him up.
But y'all
again.
weren't there. So.
We don't know. We have no clue. I have no clue.
Yeah.
Do I think he got back up after seeing like him? I don't think he got back up.
Yeah.
But they took a plea deal 18 months later. They were building this case on me. I didn't take a plea deal. They weren't giving me Homes Use for Training Act, which means like after you get off of parole or probation, you can get it off your record, which is important.
Go back though. What happened to you? Like the trial, take me through the trial, like everything. Like what happened to you though? You know what I mean?
I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
It's a process. It's a whole process because it takes forever. The system takes forever. So Casey took a plea deal, Ryan took a plea deal. They weren't giving me the same guidelines they were giving Casey and Ryan. And another thing where I knew things were starting to get a little iffy, this was before Casey and Ryan took a plea deal, was they put Casey and Ryan on the news. We were plastered on the news every other week. And they put Casey and Ryan's picture down here on the bottom, and they put me up there with the Hispanic guys, the brown people.
Yeah.
And I said, and I knew something wasn't right, because I was like, I wasn't with them. I don't know them. So why are you putting me up there with them? I was very upset, but I couldn't express it.
Right.
I couldn't put it into words. I was like, why are y'all putting me up there with them when I wasn't with them? I was with the two my boys.
Right.
I grew up with them.
Happened to be white.
Yeah, who happened to be white. So I'm like, this is very strange, and I didn't like the feeling. They took a plea deal. They weren't giving me the same guidelines. They weren't giving me the Home Use for Training Act. So I was like, I'm taking it to trial. My lawyer said, if you take this to trial, Eric, they're charging you with second-degree murder, and you will do no less than 15 years in prison.
What?
Yeah, he said that. Damian Nunzio. He said, if you take this to trial, he said you will do no less than 15 years in prison. I said, run it. I was 18. I just turned 19 at that time, and I was like, run it. I said, run it. I was like, let's go, because what they're trying to.
Did you have faith, or you just like whatever? Like
at that time,
I had
no.
nothing to lose.
I was numb.
No.
I was numb. You lying on the news every other day. Yeah, somebody lost their life, but it didn't happen the way they portrayed it to be. Like we were hiding behind bushes. No, you could see he approached us, and yeah. So like I took it to trial. It was a 2-week trial. I was numb. They say a jury of your peers, you look to your right, you see 2 brown people. Everybody else is not brown. And so they say it's your peers, but they don't feel the same thing I do over here. So, yeah, so, and I caught a guy, he was a younger guy at the time, sleeping in the trial. Sleeping. I nudged my lawyer, and I'm like, get him. When you don't have the money to get a good lawyer,
Right.
Casey had a good lawyer,
Right.
$50,000 lawyer.
Right.
Ryan had a $50,000 lawyer. We couldn't afford that.
Right.
So, he didn't. I'm nudging him, and he's just letting this guy sleep. So he's missing parts of the jury. I don't remember what part. It could have been pivotal. It could have been an important part. He could have been one person that was like, no, he didn't do anything. So we go through the trial. The prosecutor at the time wasn't the top prosecutor in Grand Rapids. Now he's the head prosecutor in Grand Rapids. I don't have any. I talked to him now.
Yeah.
I actually talked to him now, and went through the whole thing. One guy said I assaulted him, and that was one of the Hispanics. And my lawyer, the only good thing my lawyer, well, I thought my lawyer was okay. My mom don't like him, but my lawyer asked the dude who said I assaulted him. He said, "Did you have to say that for you to get a good plea deal?" And this dummy said yes. So I was like, oh my God, thank you. He said I had to say No, he said I had to say that I kicked the guy, the victim, in order for him to get a good plea deal. So his dumb self said, yeah, I had to. So the jury dismissed that guy.
Yeah.
Alex said what happened, like he said it was an awkward movement. He said, and when that was the only person that said anything, they had 32 witnesses up there. No one said he kicked them, nothing like that at all. Like I was the aggressor or anything. Alex was like, yeah, he dropped him. He was like, Eric made an awkward movement, and then he punched the guy right away. And that's what happened. Like that's what happened. And
so really all this is circumstantial. Nobody even really knows what's going on. They're just
it's yeah, I mean, when you look back at it, when you hear his head hit the concrete, you know what I'm saying? Like, like that wasn't, when it's happening, everything's happening so fast.
Yeah.
But like when you look at it, you never heard something like that. Like I've never heard somebody's skull hit the concrete like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the whole 2 weeks went by. The jury deliberated for 3 days. And they finally said, my lawyer called me and was like, they have a verdict, and I didn't feel good. Let me rewind a little bit. The reason why I didn't feel good is because at the end, the prosecutor said, maybe Mr. Freeman didn't assault him, the way we thought he did. But what did he do? He assaulted his only friend. I mean, they put on this brilliant show. I mean, you have to be an actor to be a lawyer. You have to be you have to get the jury involved. They gotta feel you. What did he do? He hit the only person he had. He hit Ben, and Ben was the only person there that could save him. And blah blah blah. And right after that, I did not feel good. When his closing statement, I don't know why it goes like this, but it goes: prosecutor gets to close, your defense gets to close, and then the prosecutor gets to go again. What's the last thing you remember?
What the prosecutor says.
The last thing you heard.
Yeah.
So he went off. He was like, he assaulted his only friend that was there to save him, and blah blah blah. To a point where I'm like, damn, did I do that? Like, did I really do that? Like, cause I didn't. It was a fight. It was quick. Like, it was. And
they're making you think like, oh shit, like going.
I'm thinking that, and I was there. So what do you think the jury's thinking? What do you think the jury's thinking? So. And then after that, like I said, they deliberated for 3 days. They finally came back with a verdict. And by the way, this is how this works. You have, at the bottom here, you have, let's just say, I think it was great bodily harm, aiding and abetting to great bodily harm, manslaughter, aiding and abetting to manslaughter, involuntary, second degree murder, so there's like a list of things that they can pick from. And then over here they have not guilty. Of course, someone lost their life. They're going to pick one of these things.
Man lost his life.
Yeah, in a white city. So of course they're going to pick one of those.
Right.
So they end up coming back with aiding and abetting to involuntary manslaughter, meaning that I assaulted his friend. I aided and assisted in the death of this young man, and I was numb. I remember hearing my cousin, I don't even know the word, screech. Yeah. She was like, ah! And like people, I mean, it was packed. Right. When I tell you, like, I was known in the community for my dad. I was my dad in Grand Rapids. I was known in the community. I was more social than my dad, but like I played football, played basketball, like.
You're just cool, like you're just big personality. You get along with everybody.
Everyone, nerds, white, black. I didn't care. I didn't see
with everybody.
Everyone.
So
my courtroom was packed. Like people was in the hallway and stuff, and you just heard people go, and you hear their side clapping and stuff. But
like,
I was numb.
Did his parents say anything to you? Like, did they have like a statement?
Nope. I tried when I got out. I tried to reach out to his mom, and she didn't respond. But she loved Casey.
Wow.
She was an advocate for Casey. She sure was. And I'm like,
wow.
Casey punched her
He's the
son.
One. He's the one who.
Like. But you know, I'm not. It is what it is. But she was really an advocate for Casey, and then at 19 years old, when they say guilty, you hear the least you're gonna get is 15 years, right? You hear it. No, didn't cry, nothing. Went in the back. They took me in the back. The guards, they were there with me for the CO, the correctional officers. They were in there with me for the whole 2 weeks, so they heard most of it, right? So they were very nice to me. They were extremely nice to me.
Were they black
took me.
Or white?
One was black. I think the other guy. There was a couple white guys, but one guy was.
But you know, if you were there, like even if in the courtroom, you know, like something's not right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They were extreme. I thought they was gonna be rude. They were extremely nice to me.
And now, if COs or officers are nice to you in a position like that,
right?
You know, something's not right. Something's off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. They was, and I just went back there numb. I went to the holding tank, and it was my first time I went to jail. And they put you under the jail because you're considered a murderer. So they put you under the jail, and when you go under the jail, you get 22 days of in that little cell, smaller than this, and then you get 2 days of day room time, which is still in the jail. You can't go outside, and and you got a lot of time to think. You got a lot of time to think.
You were going, like,
I got ADD. I'm like,
and like you're very social.
I'm very social. I gotta go do stuff.
Like,
so it was difficult. I remember. I was living with my mom at the time before this, so like my phone would always be on the floor, and even back then you're still attached to your phone. We didn't have like Facebook and stuff on it, but I would pat on the bed to get my phone, or on the floor to get my phone in the morning just to check it, and I would catch myself patting on the floor when I woke up. So I pat on the floor, but then you wake up and you look at your feet and you see the bars down, and you're like, this ain't no game. This is real.
Yeah, it's cold. It's not like, you know. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So like, your mindset going in, the middle, and the end, like how did it change? Like how, of course your mindset was, I just want to know, like, how did everything change? How did your faith change? How did just your mindset, how did you become a man? Because obviously you had to become a man, but two, like we were talking about, you after you came out, you were still 18, 19 years old
And-
when you
and
came out.
mentally.
But you still became a man.
Right.
That
Right.
makes
It
sense?
took a long time, but
So what was your thought process like throughout this whole time?
So I will have to give a huge thank you to a man named Terrence Belcher. I will never forget his name. Ooh, did it?
Oh, nope.
It's still
Thank
going?
you, Terrence. Sorry. Better
Terrence
voice. Cool. Thank you,
Belcher.
Terrence. Thank you, Terrence.
My first day in jail, I was in jail,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, Eric. All I heard was Eric. And I'm like,
Your first day.
my first day, I'm laying on the back. I'm just laying in this. I'm talking about hours.
Yeah.
Hours. I'm laying just looking. Ain't nothing to do. I'm looking at the ceiling. I'm like 15 years. I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at the ceiling, and he's like, Eric. I hear Eric. And I'm like, I don't know nobody down here, man. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm like, oh. So I go to the back. He said, come to the back. And so I go to the back. There's little poles, little bars. And he's like, hey, man, I've been following your case. He was like, I'm glad you took it to trial. He was like, if more people did that, blah, blah, blah. He was like, when the doors break, meet me in the day room. I don't know what doors break or day room mean. I don't know none of that stuff.
It's my first day. It's my first time here.
I said, okay. I was like, okay.
You figured it out, though.
I figured it out. So the doors broke. And
Yeah, you found the day room.
We went to the day room, and he found me, and he sat me down. There was a couple older gentlemen sitting at the table, and he broke it down. He said, "Don't mess with the gay people in there. Like, don't even if you're
Don't
gay.
even talk to them.
Don't mess with them.
Right.
Don't take nobody food. Stay. I know you hoop. Stay off the courts. I didn't. I hooped every day. Don't get in no fights. Like, he was just breaking it down. He did so long, and like,
Who was he?
He was. I don't know.
An angel, bro. I'm telling God, be watching. Like, he be sending
I don't
people.
know.
He comes in so many forms, bro. No matter where you are,
Yeah.
no matter where.
It
You don't even know who this person is to you, or what the purpose. But you know what the purpose is. You know what the end goal was,
Right.
Because he put you up on game.
Put me up on game.
And if you didn't know that, some
I
of
would
the
have
things.
got in trouble. I would have got in trouble. And he was just like, his biggest thing was like, go home, dude.
Go home.
He was like, go home, dude.
And at this time, you're still thinking you're doing
15 years.
years.
Yep. By that time, at that time, yes, but like I finally got it's called a PSI, and it showed you your guidelines, and it was like 18 months to 27 months or something. I don't remember exactly. So it was like a sigh of relief, but then it's like, I don't want to do 18 to 20. I don't want to do that
I
either.
don't want to be here.
I don't want to be here.
Another day.
Right. But
that's better than 15 though.
That is.
Because we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. No.
No.
I still be going.
Still
be going.
I can do math a little bit. I can do math.
Yeah. I can't. Can't read or nothing.
Shut up. Yes, you can.
But he put me up on game. He did. He told me everything to do and what not to do. He told me, because I have what's called restitution. You have to pay back everything. And he said, put money in your account now, because once you go to jail, once you go to prison, they'll take it, and you only have $50 in your account. So my family, luckily, I was fortunate enough to have a family to give me grandma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they put money in my account.
It at that time.
Because you were sick too.
I was sick. I was in the hospital. I was dead.
Yeah.
Dead. And she was going back and forth from Atlanta Children's Hospital to Grand Rapids to
court,
this trial.
to my trial.
This trial. And they're dead. They're like, make funeral arrangements. Meanwhile, she's going to trial.
She's going to trial for me.
Praying for me.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like.
That's the reason we here.
She retired.
Yeah.
I got chilled.
I just did too. I did too.
Oh my God. God's good. She retired over the phone because there was so much going on. Erickson trial. They're telling her they're telling my parents.
You were dead.
I was dead.
Yeah.
I died.
Yes.
And that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But I died. And then I had to learn how to walk again, Eric.
Yep.
Like, I was in the hospital for 2 months. I didn't even look the same. I was dead.
Right.
And then grandma's going through all this. She retired over the phone, did her blueprints, built this house. And like while she was in the hospital, she started her retirement. She started everything.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
So for us to sit here right now and just like be having this conversation, like man. Anyway, don't get me started, okay? I'm not gonna do this right now. But back to you and your situation and like how you were not thriving, but you're kind of like getting your way. You're catching your footing. Yep. You know, you have 2 years to do instead of 15.
I didn't know that at the time.
Not at the time.
Not at the time. Okay. Yeah, I still didn't know. They give you a guideline. Actually, it was 18 months to 15 years. But you hear things, you ask questions, and they're not going to give you the 15 years. Especially what happened in the case, they're not going to give you the 15 years.
When did you find that out though? How long had?
I stayed a month and a half. You start building relationships. You start talking to people. You start people like, I'm friendly anyway, so like I get along with the hoodest dude in the world or the nerdiest dude in the world, right? So like I remember Mississippi. His name was Sip. I had a homeboy named Sip, and he was across the thing. We would always just kick it and talk to him. He was my age, a couple years older, and he made some stupid decisions as well, and upbringing, circumstances, all that stuff. And my second week in jail, a dude hung himself though.
Wow.
My second week in jail, I was still numb though. I was still numb. He got in trouble for kidnapping. It was his third offense. He was about to do life, and he hung himself. You could see, I could kind of see his.
You saw it?
The cells are staggered, so you can't really. I could see Sip because he was right across from me. I could see my man right here. This one over here, you couldn't really see that well, but he hung himself on the with a sheet because he was about to do life. So they sent us over to the other unit, and they pulled him out. But like you just numb, so you just like. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Somebody just hung himself and you just like, well, take his ass upstairs and come on. So then I end up going a month and a half later, I went to sentencing, and guess who all get sentenced at the same time? Casey, Ryan, the two Hispanics. Because they didn't testify. If they would have testified, they would have got a worse deal. That's how it works, man. I don't care what anybody says. That's how it works. Why it take them 18 months for them to get sentenced when they already pled guilty? Right. They already pled guilty. Right. So I think Casey he had to be one of the first people in Michigan to get work release with a body. Work release. And then
he went on to play football, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he was down here in Jackson State.
Killing him. I heard about that. He was in the papers.
Oh, he always in the papers. Casey's out cold. That you separate.
That to me just wasn't fair though.
Life ain't fair.
They made an example out of you, Eric.
Oh, I know that.
Like that. So this is why it's so important for me to have this conversation with you, especially in the climate that we're in.
Oh yeah. Well, now people will hear it and they'll accept it.
Exactly.
Because you can see the ring light back there. You see that?
Who gives a fuck? They looking at us. They don't care about the ring light. Who cares? We look good, don't we?
Anyway, so yeah, I know they made an example of me. I knew they was gonna make an example of me when they put me up there with the brown people, and I knew that at that point. I knew I knew that. But yeah. So I went to sentencing, and then the judge said, considering your part in the case, he was like, I'm only gonna give you 27 months. It felt better than 15. It was bittersweet because it's like 2.5 years.
I don't even deserve that.
It's not even about deservability. It's just I just didn't. So
didn't want to do it. Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
Yep. So like then you just go back and then that's when you really start your bit. You start your bit. Then it's like, okay, I got 27 months. You start working back from there. What do I have to do to come home? Because if you go in there for rape or something like that and you get caught having sex in there, you ain't coming home. You go in there for fighting in a place where it's always fighting and you fight, you ain't coming home. So I made a decision basically when Terrence was talking to me. When Terrence was talking to me, I made a decision that day. I was like, I'm coming home. Right. Like I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Like flat out. And,
but it was a part of your process. It was a part of your journey.
100%, bro. 100%.
Because you wouldn't be where you are today. Like Eric, I don't think you'd be. Our name holds so much weight. We are all going to be successful in our own right. Yeah. And I feel like without that, it's unfortunate as fuck. Yeah. But you wouldn't be 100%. As successful and wealthy as we all are playing a part in. I can't even say, but you know what I'm saying. I
know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't have to.
And it took me. If you want to go into like after prison now. There was a bunch of stuff that happened in there, but like if you want to talk about after prison, it took me to about 27. I'm 31 now. So 26.
Old man.
31, baby. I'm young. I don't know what she said, but anyway, maybe she can put it at the bottom. But
I'm gonna get you a walkable tennis ball. Your birthday January 6th, right?
January 6th.
Yep.
I'm young, bro. I'm young.
He is. I'm just playing.
31. That's young. I'm a baby.
I got a lot of growth.
I got a lot of growth.
I feel like I'm in high school still.
I don't feel like that.
I know you don't, but I feel like I'm just running this. You know what I mean? Like not for real. Like.
We young, man. We got
a lot of growing to do and a lot of learning to do.
A lot.
And I'm so proud of you. So like you said after your prison life and before you started your business, like so after that.
Oh
like,
yeah, So.
And how did you prepare yourself? You knew you were coming home, but did you prepare yourself in there? Did you read? Did you feed your mind? Did you feed your spirit? Did you work out? Obviously, you worked out. You prayed? Did you
Yeah, I did all that. All that. You have a lot of time. So
but a lot of people don't consume their time with that.
That's because
some people don't even have. They feel like I don't have responsibility, so I don't have to do this. I don't have to take care of my kids.
The majority of them do that. But listen, that's circumstance. That's the way that was brought up. You can't. We gotta do. My goal in life. We'll get to this too. But my goal in life is to have a facility to help people like me who was messed up mentally and didn't understand life and didn't have financial literacy. That's my goal. I'll have a facility to help on not only like, of course, they'll have a gym and things of that nature, but like social things, like help people where I needed help the most. That's where I'm going to help these people. Women, male, black, white. I don't care what it is. Whatever. I don't care.
At the end of the day, that's what it's about. To love each other and to help each other.
Yes.
It's up to us to figure out exactly what that is, but at least you know that.
Yeah. That's,
you know what I mean?
That's the end goal. But so I got out. So obviously the 2.5 years were the 2.5 years, but what was worse than that is getting out and not being able to find a job. Like, you can't get a job. I would bring packs, my paperwork from trial to show that it wasn't as bad as when you go Google me.
Right.
It's not as bad. Just please look at this. Please give me a job, please.
Not gonna do that.
No, they see aiding. They don't even see aiding and abetting, by the way. They see involuntary manslaughter because the theory of how I was found guilty was aiding and abetting.
So if you never would have went to the police station, they wouldn't know it was you, would they?
I'm not gonna say that. I won't say that because I don't know, but
but I'm glad you.
I know we tried to do the right thing.
You did the right thing.
Yeah. So.
And God sees you. God will bless you.
Obviously, because He didn't give me 15 years. He gave me 2.5. But it was enough. It was just the right amount for me to get to where I needed to be. But I didn't get to where I needed to be until I was 27. So when I got out, I was 22. I was a fuck boy for 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And then 20, 26, 27.
You're 20-something too, and you're a man.
And prison did not help. It did not help. It didn't help.
You would have been that anyway, but that would have made it worse.
It made it worse. I would have been that anyways, for sure. For sure. But that made it worse. That did make it worse. And I met a beautiful young lady by the name of Kiera.
Hi, Kiera. We love her. Grandma said he'll never meet a young lady like you. We all know that. We all love you. We love you, Jazz. And we love you too.
Did I admit it? Did I admit it?
Yes. He's a man about his. We know. We know what's up. Anyway.
And she helped me through this. And I treated her like crap for years.
Wow.
Years. I treated her really bad for years. And I just had an epiphany. I had the opportunity to move to South Florida with Casey. And he was like, come down here, help me start this meal prep business. I couldn't find a job. I was actually in between jobs. And when I moved down there, man, it just opened my eyes. I'm telling you, like, I can't wait till I'm financially, I'm already there. I'm starting the beginning of it. But like, when I get to the point where I'm financially at a point where I can travel outside of the United States, because I grew so much in Florida, and that's right here. That's here. It's right here.
Like when I said New York, oh my God.
Yeah.
But like with Spanish people, like I'm with Caribbeans. I met 3 Americans, so I understand what you're saying.
Right.
It opens your mind, and like I don't even want to listen to the music here.
Right.
I don't want to like eat the food here. Like I don't want to do none of that. Like it really inspired me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get what I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you feel me on that because it just and then you just want to be a better person.
Exactly.
And I don't cry, my dad. I don't cry, and I just one day I just lost it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I treat you. I'm talking about Kiera. I'm like, I treat myself like crap because I just don't have respect for anyone.
You didn't know yourself.
I didn't know myself. I just lost it, and I called her on FaceTime, and they were like, "What is wrong?" Because they ain't never seen me cry.
Oh my God!
And I'm just apologizing to Jaslyn too, because Jaslyn see me call her mom names that I shouldn't have been calling her mom. And then they grow up to. I've already beat myself up enough.
No. But yeah, because she watches you.
Yeah.
You are her father.
Yes.
You know what I
So
mean?
she'll grow up.
She's gonna grow up thinking that's okay in the men that she dates.
Right.
But now she knows.
No.
You take care. I
know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know from the
Yeah.
I hadn't interacted with you until Pop's funeral. I got chills again. Your family, like just the men, like
right.
I could see it.
Right.
And like people go lifetimes without finding love like that.
Right.
And you have that, and you appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
So what you're doing now, I commend you both for that.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to be at the. I'm in the wedding.
Right.
I'm sorry. You're not gonna do me like your dad Eddie did me in his wedding. You're not gonna do that.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, man. So okay, back to Kiera and like how she helped you and like you opened up to her and you were vulnerable. You were the first time you're able to be vulnerable with somebody.
Yep. And I just let her know, I apologize, and she felt it because she ain't
But
never seen.
Did your actions change after that?
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah,
So
it's
I mean,
process.
it did change for sure, but like, I still have girls come over to the apartment in Florida and just stupid stuff. You know what I mean? And I was still dating Kiera, and I'm in Florida. You know what I mean? So like, it's
Beautiful women everywhere.
everywhere. That don't mean I had beautiful women all the time. Take what you get sometimes.
I take it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, like, how do you treat somebody so bad that don't treat you, puts you on a pedestal, but you treat them so bad? Like that just didn't make it.
She saw you. She saw the potential in you. She saw who you are, who you were, who you are, and who you're gonna be.
Right.
Everybody doesn't see that. Everybody doesn't know that, and like. You're obviously your souls are tied to each other, but it's deeper than that. If grandma sees grandma got her crystal ball, she not. So if you fuck that up, that's on you.
Oh yeah. Yep. So
but you're not going to, and I know like you're not mindset. Like I'm gonna do everything I can to, just be the man I can be, and grow separately and come. Nobody's business.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting too deep into it, but yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll continue this up later though. But did we cover? No, your business. We're gonna close out on your business. Your meal prep.
Yeah.
That's where we ended at. Casey told you to move.
Yep. Casey told me to move down south. I grew.
Yeah.
There, blossomed. It didn't work out. So what happened was Casey. I don't have aunts and uncles I can ask for $50,000 to go start a business.
Right.
But Casey did. But what he did was, in my opinion, this is my opinion. This is what I think. He went down there. He bought a BMW. He bought a nice apartment. He got us a nice apartment. When you start up, we don't need that nice stuff. I had the nicest apartment I've ever had.
You need to get what your startup entails.
Exactly.
What it requires.
Yep. So like I'm just having a good time. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not thinking about it. It's his money, not mine. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Get down there, and it just didn't work out. Like we weren't getting a lot of set. We didn't have a business plan. We didn't do the research because the biggest meal prep company is called Caterfit, and they were out of Fort Lauderdale. That's where we were at, basically South Florida. So anyways, the partnership fell through, and what really touched me, I don't really think I told too many people this, but I had a buddy named Travis, and he went down there with us. It was me, Travis, and then Casey who's Casey's fiance or wife now, I believe. And me and Travis lived together, and rent was due. It was $1,800, and he said, I can't pay your rent anymore. This was like month 4. This is month 4.
Like, was it right before the rent was due, or like did he give you some notice?
Enough
for you to get it together.
I mean, if Grandma paid 2-3 months rent down there.
Whoa.
Grandma paid 2 or 3 months rent. I'm telling you, Grandma be looking out because she paid 2, and that's $1,800.
Yeah,
That's
the whole
not
thing, the whole shebang.
The whole thing, because Travis's family is they don't got no money.
Yeah,
they don't have any money,
right.
And
Casey got cut off or something.
Well, what touched me the wrong way is when Travis was on the phone with Casey and he said, hey man, what's up with rent? And then Alot's mom is very, very wealthy. Her family, they're very, very wealthy. And Travis was like, hey man, can you ask Alot's mom if we can borrow a couple months until this comes off? And Casey said, what do I look like asking Alot's mom for rent for 2 grown ass men? And I'm like, you asked us to come. That right there is when I started packing my stuff and I was like, we going back home.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, we going back home. And I didn't have no bad taste in my mouth because I know Casey my whole life, and that's whatever. And at that moment in Florida, before all of that, I started eating better. I had high blood pressure. I was 270 at the time. I'm only 6 foot. I don't need to be 270. And I started eating better. And another thing is like you see a bunch of beautiful people, so you want to be beautiful too.
Right.
So I started eating better, I started working out, and then that transitioned into heavy self-development. I'm talking about reading books. My literacy is, I didn't read a lot. My mom didn't make me read, so I don't read that well, but I read books. I think my first book I read from front to back was in Florida. And it blew my mind. It was called The Alchemist. I don't know.
The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
I started reading that book. It's so good. Like every page I folded because it's like gym.
Yep.
And I haven't like finished it, so I constantly have to go back because that's not something you just skim through.
Mm-hmm.
I have to take notes on it, and I'm a writer too. So I'm like, I have to set in on this. I have to like really read it again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I have the book. 4 Agreements as well. That's something I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send that one to me because I haven't heard of it.
I'll actually give it to you.
Okay.
I have it with me.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
And I'll just get another one.
And anyways, in basically the foundation of why I started becoming a better person was obviously everything that happened and we just discussed. Kira was a big part, Grandma's a big part, my abuela, my mom, like those are big parts.
Right.
But the eating was another good part. It was a wonderful part. Like it's important, and we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about it enough.
Right.
And I was like, I'm starting this in West Michigan for 2 reasons. One reason is because there's an open market in West Michigan at the time. This was about 2.5 years ago. There was an open market in West Michigan for meal prep. And the second reason is if I can come out of a bad mindset, a terrible negative mindset, obviously, like we said, all those things added up. But the last thing was food, was good food. Just, I'm not the healthy, I still eat pizza and stuff like that, but just being a little bit more conscious of what you're putting in.
You had some ice cream last night.
Shit.
Yeah, everything's fine. Okay, everything's good. Yeah, he had some apple pie, some ice cream just last night. You know what I'm saying? But it's not what you do; it's how you do it. And like, too much of anything is bad for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. So, and then I came back, Lauren, and I just started grinding. Like I said, I don't have money. I'm not the smartest person in the world. And I just started grinding. I started looking for organizations that help new entrepreneurs. Now, I said in the beginning of this, West Michigan, Grand Rapids specifically, is the second worst city in the nation to start a business if you're a black or brown person, and we feel that. Mallory is my business partner.
And you black and brown, so the odds is heavily stacked against you.
And so is she. She's
black woman?
She's black and white. She black.
Black.
She black.
Yep.
And,
hey Mallory, how you doing?
And she's a phenomenal woman. She has a very similar story. Very messed up mindset. Had a kid at 16 years old, fighting all the time. Hood. You know what I'm saying? We just didn't have the I love my dad, but he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have that, and you missed it.
I understand.
Yeah, and it ain't his fault. He had me when he was 19 years old. He was a baby.
Yeah.
He was a baby.
Right.
And he lived 3 hours away. Like so, I'm not placing no blame, but it does affect a man's life. You need
absolutely.
You need that.
Daughters and sons alike. They need their fathers, they need their mothers, or a village, or some kind of figure.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And that's important. A village is very important. And even though it wasn't perfect then, we're getting it together now.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's all that matters.
That's it.
That's all that matters. And I started it, Lauren. I started it, and we're in the beginning stages. It's a startup that we're in. We just launched. It's called Mindset Meals, and we.
Unfortunately, they don't ship because I asked them too. I was like, "You ship?" Because I'll eat that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not yet. We will though. We'll get there. We're getting there.
You're getting there. That's fine. But you still need to let people know like what's going on and like if they are in the area. You know what I mean? Like so, Mindset Meals.
Yep.
What kind of meals do you prep? Like what?
So Mallory's our head chef and she's my business partner. So she creates keto. Classic would just be a protein like what I would eat. I'll just eat protein,
rice,
starch, and the veggie. And then there's keto, and then there's meatless. So we have meatless options as well.
Awesome.
And you go online, go to mindsetmeals.com, you pick what kind of meals you want, you pick how many meals you want, and we deliver them on Sunday. It's local right now, but
so you take the meals too.
We deliver them.
You deliver them.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Yep, we deliver them to
How far? How far away?
We have a 45-mile radius right now.
That's dope.
But people will hit us up, Lauren. They'll hit us up and be like, I'm out of your radius, and I'll be like, it's a startup. Everything's a yes.
Right.
So how far is it? 45 minutes away. Bet.
Yes.
I'll do it myself.
Right.
I'll go drive it myself. So like that's how that works.
Good. That's good business. That's how you do. Like it's personal.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then you never know who you're gonna meet.
Exactly.
Too. You never know who's gonna be able to help you. Be like, you know what? This needs to be. You should at least be able to do it in the surrounding states. Let's start here.
Right.
If not, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you never know. So
Never
keep
know.
doing what you're doing. Like,
Always.
I'm so proud of you.
Always. I appreciate it.
What do you love about your business? Like, is this something you see yourself like doing? I know it's not is this your end all be all? Do you want to have your hands in other things? I know you said you wanted to do like a community center with like helping other people.
That's my
your end goal.
So, but Mindset Meals is a part of it because us
goes
as
hand in
black
hand.
people didn't know to eat well. Grandma cooked good as you know what I'm
We're
saying?
gonna eat good now.
Tonight.
She put on her grill wig. She switched up the wig and everything.
Put a grill wig on.
She put it on.
But like that's another thing. Like we don't educate each other to eat better. Just be a little bit more conscious of what you're consuming. Just a little bit. You don't gotta be the healthiest person, but just be a little bit more conscious. So that's a part of that infrastructure that we're gonna create. But I want to get into commercial real estate. I really want to get into commercial real estate. I have to have my hands in different things because to gain wealth, you have to have different revenue streams.
They say at least eight.
At least strands. 8, and you need it. So I'm working on 2 right now, but we're gonna get there.
You're somewhere, right?
We're gonna get there.
And then from there, you're gonna branch off and do other things and meet other people.